Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee. I say the other chamber affectionately, of course. We'll be getting you back in Washington soon enough, Senator. It's great to see you, and welcome back to Bloomberg TV and radio. How about we get our arms around this issue right now? For investors who are worried, and you've seen the reaction, I know that you're financially and market-minded, seen the reaction in the bond market this week to Donald Trump's second election. What should be the message to investors when it comes to debt and deficits, knowing that he is looking to extend tax cuts and has added quite a number of exceptions to the list?
Well, I think what you need to keep in mind is that President Trump's overarching goal is to see a lot more economic growth here in this economy. You can count on another effort to undertake a massive deregulation thrust. By some measures, the cost of deregulation under the Biden administration has been more than $1 trillion. It's a compliance burden that is enormous. That's something that can be lifted on our businesses. It will have an impact in a positive way on the economy, and that can be undertaken without any cost. If you think about where President Trump has gone in the past with respect to tax cuts, he's done it in a manner that's made us more competitive as a nation. Our corporate tax rate was the highest in the world before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was put in place in 2017. He brought that down to something more competitive, more middle of the pack. And what we saw was a lot of companies, the inversion stopped, and a lot of companies repatriating funds, and our revenues went up. Corporate tax revenues went up as a result of that, and have. So I wouldn't follow the logic that coming in and taking acts on the tax package that I think is going to be front and center for us as we come into the new year. I wouldn't think you would want to lose touch with the fact that it's going to be overarchingly aimed at economic growth.
Well, and monetary policy plays a role in that as well. It's not just fiscal policy, Senator. And on that subject, we, of course, had a Fed decision today and a press conference from Chairman Powell, who had to field some questions on his future under a Trump administration. Just listen to a few of these exchanges, and we'll have you respond.
Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
Do you believe that the president has the power to fire or demote you, and has the Fed determined the legality of a president demoting at will any of the other governors with leadership positions?
Not permitted under the law.
Not what?
Not permitted under the law.
Senator, of course, one of those governors with a leadership position includes Michael Barr, the vice chair of supervision, who you've taken some issue with in terms of the Basel III endgame that was proposed. Should that legal question be challenged?
I think everything should be on the table here. If you think about what Michael Barr has done as the vice chair, he's taken a regulatory role here. I don't think that deserves the same sort of protection that our monetary policy has. And his regulatory role has been actually contradicting congressional legislation, S-2155, for example. This Basel III endgame, this is, in my view, a rogue operation that has put a great deal of uncertainty to the marketplace. I'm glad that I've seen the banking community stand up against this. But Michael Barr is somebody that has come into a position, and I think in a very political way, in a way that's had a dampening effect on our economic growth, has not done our nation any good. And I've been very concerned about it. I've been vocal and articulate about that, and I remain so. So I would look at any legal option that we might have to make a change there. The review process that he's undertaken has been grossly unacceptable. And the fact is that he's taken a regulatory posture that should not get the same type of protections again as we provide monetary policy here in the United States.
Well, a lot of people said upon the election of Donald Trump this week, Basel III is dead. Are they wrong?
I haven't had an opportunity to discuss that in particular with President Trump, but I certainly think that Basel III has been, all the proposals that I've seen have been largely bad for the American economy because they make us less competitive as a nation. And I don't understand why America should be, that people here, particularly on the left, think that America should be guiding its regulatory construct toward Europe. Let's look and see what happened to the European economy since they formed the common union. They've barely grown. America has grown at more than 10x the rate since the common economy was formed there, the EU was formed. We've grown at an amazing rate because we've not been burdened by the regulatory construct that they seem to want to impose on their economy. Why would we want to move in their direction?
Well, so as we consider other countries here, we, of course, and this got to what we were discussing earlier about economic policy, we know that tariffs could play a big role in the future policy of a Trump administration. Do you see room for the potential to cut deals with countries who will open up more to U.S. products to then have lower tariffs placed on goods exported from that country in return? How nuanced do we need to get with this conversation?
Well, the overarching problem is a lack of reciprocity. And there's an historic reason for this. If you go back to World War II, we were trying to move economies like Japan's economy, like European economies, toward America. We didn't want them turning toward communism. We cut very favorable trade deals with them as a result. But what we have today, we should have time limited that. We should have put some sort of GDP per capita limit on it. We didn't. We have fully formed economies, developed economies, that are trading in ways that are very advantageous to them, not so to us. America's got the most open economy in the world. Access to this economy deserves fair treatment, reciprocity. We haven't been getting that, and I think this is an opportunity to come back and address it.
Senator, I don't know what it's like to wake up and read your name in the tip sheets and newspapers in the morning, but you're having a day like that because as the transition takes place, some key Republicans are being named as potential members of the new administration. And of course, you were a member of the last administration. Is that something that you've talked to the former president about?
There is a lot of speculation that is bound to happen after any election victory like President Trump had, and what a landslide, what a mandate that he received. I've got a huge job to do right now to make certain that the new majority in the United States Senate is lined up and prepared to support President Trump's agenda. And I'm going to do everything I can to make certain we move our nation back in the right direction. President Trump has articulated that. I think that's why the American populace has put him back into office with a landslide. And I'm not going to speculate on what the future might be. I'll leave that to the speculators, except to say that I'm going to do everything I can to move us forward, bring our economy back, our national security back, and get America moving again.
If it's a matter of economy and national security, Senator, there's obviously two jobs that you're being floated for. I understand you don't want to comment on those directly, but which, considering you also have symmetrical roles on the Senate Banking Committee, would be the biggest loss for the Senate if you were to leave one of those particular committees?
We have a tremendous group of senators in the United States Senate. I think that you couldn't look at any one person and say that that would be a significant loss, because any senator would be replaced, hopefully, by the governor of their state, a very competent person. I think that would be a consideration that would be undertaken. Again, I'm not going to speculate on that type of activity because I don't know that it ever even involved me. But I think that the process, as it would unfold, the Senate and the incumbent president would, I mean, the incoming president would be very certain that a very competent person would be there to be replaced.
All right, Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much.